Hello and welcome to the TalkTooMuchPodcast, and I'm here with my guest.
Hey, I'm Cydney Q.
This is my partner in crime right here. Okay, thank you for coming to the first episode of the TalkTooMuchPodcast, and tell us a little about yourself. Just no, it's okay. No.
I'm a senior at Evergreen Valley. Yeah.
Well, like what hobbies do you do or whatever?
Hobbies. We collect animals at my house.
Like the petting zoo.
Yeah, we have a petting zoo.
You like to talk about your petting zoo?
I don't know how many chickens we have. How many dogs? 2, and 2 cats, and 4 bunnies.
So you do have a petting zoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Including my brother.
Oh, wonderful, Mr. Chris Quatch. Okay.
No.
Okay. So, start this off. Let's talk about just your life in general. How do you start off your mornings and what do you do?
On the weekends or weekdays?
Let's start off with, let's do weekdays.
Okay. I sleep in as much as possible. Unless I have to do something that morning, like take care of my animals. But normally I would go to the bathroom and release my liquids.
A bit TMI, but continue.
And then brush my teeth, wash my face. And then what would I do? I normally watch TV shows like while I'm getting ready, just for background noise. And then I would pick out an outfit, mostly pajamas. And then I would just make sure that my laptop is in my backpack, and then I would leave.
And around how long does that usually take?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? 10 minutes?
Okay. About I would say okay, if I slept in till so I leave the house at 7:50 because I like to beat the parent traffic. And then it takes me about 10 minutes to get to school. But if I want to leave at 7:50 or 7:55, I would normally wake up latest at 7:40, so about 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So from that, how do you think?
What do you do?
What do? Well,
I wake up and go to school.
I wake up. Yeah, no. Basically, I wake up. Depending on how I'm feeling, I either just change whatever I'm wearing from what I woke up in.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. Because I have a dog hair problem. Dog hair everywhere, so I have to change from whatever I slept in. And there's my wonderful dog in the background too. Wonderful. One of the 2 dogs, but okay. Back on
3. You have 3.
No, 2.
You have 3.
Let's move on. I have 2. 2 that I claim as my own. Okay. So where was I? Back to my morning routine. So when I get ready, I either just change, around when I get up, 7:45, 7:50, latest 7:50, and then I go out first. I don't even change first. I go to the bathroom first because the need to do before going to school.
Your throne.
Yeah, that's my throne. Gotta watch horrible thing. We just sit there and watch YouTube. And till my legs go numb.
Dude, you didn't need to say that.
Because I'm there forever. This TMI again, I apologize. But, so from that, okay, then I change, brush my teeth and such, and then right before I leave to school, I try to find myself something to eat or drink, and then I either take it with me or eat it in the car or whatever. But that's basically my morning routine. So going from that, do you think it affects your day anyway? Just what your routine is? Do you think it's good, bad, or just how does it affect it?
I don't think the routine in general. Maybe if something disrupts it, like Maurice. Oh, Maurice is my cat, by the way. And then so what my cat does is when I go to the bathroom, my door doesn't close all the way, so he'll go into my room and sleep where I slept, so because it's warm, And then if he doesn't want to leave, I normally have to carry him out of my room so I could close it so he doesn't eat everything in there. But other than that, as long as like my dogs don't have an accident or Maurice runs out of the house or something, I think that I pretty much go to school like with kind of the same mood unless something happened the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's the routine in general that like affects your mood as much as like if something disrupts your routine, you know?
Yeah, I get you. Kind of the same for me. Like,
Diesel has the poops.
yeah, my best friend Diesel here has a bad case of the poops because he's an old man with the upset stomach.
He's not old.
Okay, he's not old. He's a little baby. But if he has an upset stomach, then that might mess up my routine because I have to get up earlier and hurry up and clean up his mess, which I'm not mad at him for.
Yes, you are.
I'm not mad at him for it, okay? But other than that, it's like, I understand what you're saying. Like, a disruptor that, like, ruins your routine is, like, way, like, what mostly affects the day.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think about, like biggest disruptor would be, like, sleep, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, we both stay up pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
Like, around 12 to 1, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually, like, our function. Like, we can function with that.
But if we can't sleep until later.
Yeah, it's like you. Yeah, I'm calling you out.
That was rude.
I'm calling you out.
That was rude.
Because...
That happens, like, once a month, okay?
No.
Yeah, other than that, I sleep at, like, 1 or 2 latest.
See, but going off of that, do you think sleeping at that time is really benefiting us, or is it just...
As sleeping at later times?
That later time, is it really benefiting us, like...
Definitely not.
Definitely not. But how do you think that would change your routine? Like, how do you think that would affect
like if
your
we
day?
slept earlier?
If you just, like, had a, earlier consistent sleep schedule.
Honestly, like, I think that I would be able to accomplish more during school, but then, like, after school we go to the gym and stuff, and, like, if I wake up too early to a point where, like, I'll be tired throughout the day, sometimes it's not as beneficial because I'll be, like, awake during school times,
Mm-hmm.
but then when it comes to coming back home, like, normally I would, like, be really tired and take a nap or something.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it's, like, dependent on the day. Like, some days, like, I'll wake up really early and have energy throughout the day and sleep again at a reasonable time.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other days where I'll wake up at, like, a good time, like, say 7 or 8, and then I would just, like, crash after a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think it's just, like, how active you are throughout the day and, like, how active you are throughout the past day. You know?
You kind of lost me there because, like, no, because, like you said, like, it's depending on how active you are, but
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that in hand be, like, how much you sleep
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, because sometimes I'll sleep, like, 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll wake up still, like, having decent energy, and, like, but then I would sleep early that day at, like, 10 o'clock or something, and then I would wake up at, like, 10 in the next day, and I would be tired, so.
See, but then, like we were talking about before, that consistency and that routine, I think if that we developed that, like, that's why we could function, like, going to sleep later, because we've already developed that, like, that time that we go to sleep, so our body's, like, kind of prepared for that, right?
So, like, what's a good time to sleep at? Because
that's what we have to obviously think about, right? but I'm just asking in general, do you think that if we, like, adjust our schedule to, like, sleep earlier, that it would have any effect on, like, your day, like, at school or, like, after that? Do you think it would, like, improve your energy, improve your focus or whatever?
I think it would, but it's also, like, obviously that's not, like, the only factor, but I think
it's kind of unrealistic just to have that set. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there are some people that, like, have to sleep at 10.
Yeah.
And, like, Andrea, she sleeps at 10 every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know. I feel like I can't do that because also if like I don't have enough or if I don't if I'm not active throughout the day enough, I can't fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think definitely having more sleep will help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's just something we have to figure out. But like just thinking about that, um, how like our sleep can affect like our day is just like I don't know. It's something that I know it's like an issue, but it's like one of those things that like oh yeah, like it's like using your phone like oh yeah I shouldn't be on my phone this much or whatever. No, I'm not talking just about you. I'm talking about me too. Like you should be on my phone this much, but like you know you're not gonna really do anything change about it. Like you can set the limits and stuff.
But you can bypass.
Yeah, you can just bypass it because like I don't know. It's like it's easier said than done. I feel because it's like you're already set in that routine. Like yeah. But heading back to school. Okay, back to how stuff affects like you at school. How do you feel about block schedule or this
like
year's block?
Our block schedule right now?
Yeah, or like the block schedule that we've had through the year. Like with your routine and like just.
I mean, selfishly because we're only taking 5 classes, and last year we could have left before lunch, like every single day. That is one reason why I do not like it. And also there were like 4 options that were sent out last year, and we got to pick, and I feel like we got handed the worst one in my opinion. I forgot what the other ones looked like, but I remember looking back on it last year and being like, oh, that's like the worst one, and then they gave us the worst one.
Yeah.
But like throughout like time wise, I do think that we kind of got cheaped with the lunchtime because we had 40 minutes of lunch last year with 50 minutes of class. So it was basically like our own class period, but for lunch. But we got 30 minutes for lunch and then 10 minutes for break, and then an hour and a half in class.
Yeah.
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 And I don't even think it's just like the students. I also think it's like the teachers. I mean, I think it's better if they're not having overnight homework unless it's online. But most classes they haven't been doing overnight homework, and I guess it's better for the students, but it's also teachers are kind of running out of things to teach to their students. But it's also, I don't know, it depends each teacher. Some teachers do a really good job and give breaks in between, but some teachers do lectures the entire hour and a half of class, and I don't think that really works.
Yeah, I really understand what you're saying because that's pretty relatable to I think most people, which is obviously there's gonna be teachers that handle their time better and can work better with the students just progression wise, and then there's some that just are set in their old routine that just instead of lecturing for 45 minutes like they used to before, they just make their lectures longer and just do it for longer without taking into account the modified newer schedule. So it kind of didn't adjust with the times, so it kind of makes it harder for everybody else. But where was I gonna go with that?
I mean, I get it. For our block schedule, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And for college classes, it's 2 hour lectures.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good way to get us accustomed to that. But at the same time, some teachers do have to understand hour and a half lectures aren't gonna really work as well, or just doing one activity the entire time.
Yeah, no, I understand. Oh, just reminded me of something else. So with that, since there's only 3 classes a day for most teachers and people, do you think that's better work wise or learning wise that you
so they don't have to switch between
subjects?
subjects?
You don't have to switch between subjects. And you have you know what you're gonna be learning that day, so you can like prepare for that better basically, instead of having all your classes in one day, where you like every day you have to like, oh, I have this, have this, have this, have this, but then you have now where you could just prep
for 3.
Yeah, for whatever 3 classes or 2 classes you have that day.
I think it does help because especially for like for me at least, like I'll be packing my bag the night before and I'll be like, what do I need for this class, and this class? And it's only 3 classes to worry about instead of 5 or 6, and some people even 7. But another thing, like the overnight homework thing, like, yeah, it's helpful, but it also like promotes procrastination. At least for me, because I'll be waiting off until like Thursday when it's due instead of just doing it right when I get it.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I know about that.
But yeah, I do think that like it does help with only having 3 classes a day, but I think it's just a time that some students are having a hard time adjusting to, and also some teachers as well.
Yeah, it's like I'm glad that this is like the last year we have to deal with this sort of schedule, right? But like looking at my potential like lineup for like classes and just going to community, right? It's gonna be
about the same.
It's about the same, but like not. It's more focused. Like
it
here,
is.
like it's obviously there's like some sort of focus here, and like what I feel that I like about block compared to like previous, like the 45 minutes, is that you could really sit down and get like into like the material or like the class, right? Because you have so much time just to sit in there and like focus, compared to switching from every 45 minutes it's a new class, right? So you actually have that time to like settle in and like take in the information and stuff, which I feel if utilized right,
I think it depends every subject though.
Yeah, I get that, but like if utilized right, like for the majority of subjects like math probably, like that would be something that like actually helps, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. So like with my schedule, the classes that I feel wouldn't need like a full hour and a half would probably be I don't know if it's based on my teachers or based on the subjects, but it's econ and gov. Just because it's, yeah, you can have like real life activities and stuff, but most of the time, at least for my teachers, mainly just lectures.
Yeah.
And then I would say English, but like obviously depends the teachers, because some English teachers do a really good job in incorporating their students. But others are just like, here's your class time, you do whatever project I just gave you, you know?
Yeah.
But obviously for like, I don't know, PE or electives or like art and stuff, like for art you would have to like, if we had regular time for, or 45 minutes to 50 minutes of class time, we would have to take out our supplies, and then like, that's already like 10 minutes of taking it out, putting it back.
Yeah, no.
And then, but I think it's just, like, depending on which subject, you know?
Yeah, no, most definitely. Like you're saying, like, I know we have the same gov and econ teacher.
Yeah.
And it really is just, like, just lectures for a long time. And, like, what I can appreciate about that class is that it's, like, it's pretty straightforward. Like, honestly, it's, like, you're not learning much, in all honesty, but it's like if you want to pass the class, you already know what the expectation for it.
Yeah.
But it isn't like the best learning environment for itself, right?
Yeah.
So like learning environment wise, if you're like actually there to learn, like block schedule helps depending on the class, which I appreciate, but most of the time, or a lot of the time, I haven't been taking full advantage of.
Yeah.
So whenever I do, I could really appreciate the time that is like given, especially and like I feel like the days are shorter too.
Yeah.
Because going from class to class to class to class was like really, I would say, draining, even if we had longer break periods.
Yeah.
But like from that, it just feels like the day goes by quicker because you only see like this 3 or 2 different groups of people.
It definitely does feel quicker.
Yeah.
And also, you're not getting up as much.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just I didn't think I was gonna appreciate the block schedule, like, but it's actually pretty good, and I kind of don't have an issue with it like I thought I was originally. Like, how do you feel about that?
About
like, how do you like from your original like?
Oh, I definitely thought I was gonna hate block schedule just because like sitting there for that long, like, I don't know, like in majority of high school and middle school, I mean, we went from period to period to period.
Yeah.
And obviously elementary school, we stayed in that same class, but we had breaks, and it was a lot, for me, it was a lot more effective seeing the same people every day because you get to bond with them more. But I obviously thought like with block schedule, an hour and 30 minutes in each class was like crazy.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't used to it, and even though we had like kind of block schedule through our distant learning, distant learning was like very different because it wasn't being in that physical classroom
with the people like surrounding you, right? Because you're like talking about distance learning in itself. It's just you sitting in front of a computer most of the time.
But most of the time, I was sleeping.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, it was just sleeping.
It was just sleeping and doing like hobbies and like eating.
It was
attention.
Multitasking to the max. It was just like you have your like earbuds in or like your volume up, and then you just go off and like start making something to eat or whatever.
No, literally.
That's all it was. And like, I can't like what else are you supposed to do? Like obviously like to enforce that, right? Because you can't just like you sit there and turn your camera on and sit there or whatever, right?
Like you can't. It wasn't allowed to force us to make our camera stay on.
Because that's like
invasion of privacy.
Yeah, but like at the same time,
like that's the only way you would
been able to do that, right?
Yeah.
But back to this distance learning, how it was. I want to say I did not use my time wisely. And it was absolutely atrocious because I feel like that messed up
your learning
my learning itself. Yeah.
Definitely, because I don't know, for certain subjects, like what did we take in what history did we take? We took
world history for
sophomore?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. US history was last year.
It's okay. I slept through the entire thing. But yeah, I feel like for history, because it changed, like from sophomore to junior, you didn't really need that to go on. I took physics, which was just a requirement, and then English was also important, but also the curriculum every year kind of changes, like what they focus on. Math is where I really struggled because I used to get math until like I slept through the entire math. And then last year I didn't have the best teacher, and then this year I definitely had to like double down on it,
Yeah.
and like actually try to get it. But then we had PE and we just slept the entire time.
Yeah. See, like with similar to you, like basically the same thing, especially with English because we were there in it together, even though you were the one that's sleeping all the time. I am calling you out. But math, see, I think it's funny for me because math 1 was absolutely horrible because
the teacher.
Yeah, that situation. No names.
But
I passed that, right? I was okay, yeah. It was trouble, but I think it's the teacher, right?
It definitely was.
Yeah. But so from there, math 2 over distance learning, and I passed, like, I did, like, better than anything I did before, but, like, it wasn't really, like actual, like, material, right? I was just, like, notes and stuff. Yeah. So I could just sit there for, like, whatever and do the notes or get the notes from someone else, and I'd pass that class, right? So then coming back, and the teacher that I had last year wasn't the most ideal teacher.
It wasn't the nice, like, most motivational.
It was, yeah. It wasn't the most encouraging environment, right? So I really tried to, understand it and, like, put myself to, like, into that overdrive, like what you're saying, double down.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It felt like I was getting bullied there. I also felt like I was getting bullied.
It wasn't the best encouragement.
Yeah, no. I was, getting
most
bullied.
Definitely. Do you think that, like, not taking a math this year would definitely affect, your college years?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. Looking at my whatever...
Did you take any college classes for math yet?
I have not. So I, myself, do dual enrollment at the community college, EVC.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a lot of my general ed.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not done any of, like, the English,
math,
math, science, whatever, because that's, like, more of an
in person, yeah.
So for me, talking to a counselor from there, I decided to catch up to whatever I want to do. I have to take a math over the summer just to catch up to where I should be, and which I'm not I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna be able to do well in that math wise, because these past few times were I don't know, horrendous. Because I used to love math, but that was absolutely horrendous. But yeah, it pretty much kind of set me back. Because if I enjoyed math like I used to, I think I would have.
You most definitely would have gotten it.
I would have been doing a lot better than I was. Than I was last few math classes. Yeah, but from there, that's the only thing that's kind of set me back. But luckily, I already have I'm ahead of the game sort of, because I already have basically all
some credits already done.
The general ed stuff done.
So
all I have to do is to figure out major requirements
and transfers.
Yeah, all that stuff. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm just kind of I knew I could have done better if I just was
given a better teacher.
Yeah, dealt a better deck of cards just in the situation wise. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I could find that enjoyment, not just enjoyment, but that drive and understanding of math again, because I had that for a while last year, but it was too late by that point, and it just wasn't helping, just the classroom. But I'm a little set back in the math department, but other than that, I feel like I have room to catch up because I've already caught myself ahead, sort of, so I set myself up pretty well.
Very nice.
Yeah, how should we end this off? We were just talking about our school stuff. Yeah, I know. But how do you feel about what do you want to do for college wise this end of summer? What do you see your future like? What do you plan to do, education wise?
So right now I kind of have a plan of HR, human resources, in either business setting or I have no idea, probably a business setting, because I see my mom with HR and stuff, and she loves her job, and she gets to teach other people, and she gets to fire people.
Yeah.
And then she also gets really good perks, even though she's just talking to people, she's working at home all the time now. She barely goes into the office, which is really good because her office is an hour away, and she did used to commute for EA when she used to work there. But now she's kind of just staying at home, and they give her technology to work at home.
Yeah.
I mean, when she worked for EA, she had really nice perks. She had a phone that they paid for.
Yeah.
Of course, she had to turn that in when she
yeah.
But and then she also got a whole monitor. She had free games. My brother and I would always go to EA, and they had these family days where they would just have these gigantic blow ups, a whole bunch of toys and stuff, and me and him would just go crazy over that stuff. And we get free gifts, and I remember one time for Easter, instead of putting candy in the Easters, they put DS games and stuff like that. So we got a whole bunch of those. And then I don't know, I just I've always liked her work, but I've never really considered it for myself until junior year, when she started wanting me to like research majors, workplaces and stuff like that. But I always I loved her job mainly because her job is basically gossiping.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I hear.
yeah, you hear at my house. Yeah, she'll be like, oh my gosh, did you hear about blah blah blah? And she'll be like, gosh dang it, Derry. And then like I'll sit in on some of her meetings because during distant learning I would just sit in her office when I was done with school, and I would just like lay there with my dog, and then like her and her coworkers would just like gossip about certain people.
Yeah.
And like they can't get fired because it's their job.
Yeah.
But yeah, but other than that, like I'm just taking I'm doing general classes at EVC this year, or Dianza, and then hoping to transfer to probably San Jose State because they have a really good psychology for business. But other than that, that's all I have planned.
Yeah, I was about to ask you like what you had like school like class wise, but yeah, no, that's pretty good. Pretty good. That sums it up. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Miss Cydney Q right here, and that is this episode of the Talk Too Much podcast. Thank you for listening.